are back with more Shacknews Game of the Year deliberations. Air horn, air horn, air horn.
Damn, our budget went up.
Probably.
You really did.
Do the best we can with what we have, people.
It works.
Blake, what
All right.
category are we doing?
Sorry, I got distracted, but yes, we're back with more fun deliberation times, and this time it's a big one. Oh boy, we're gonna tackle best publisher of the year right now. These are the people that put out the games that we thought did the best job of putting those games out for us. Pretty banger year in gaming in general, but everybody kind of thinks one publisher did better than the other. So I think it's time we got right down to it. Would anyone like to start off with their nomination?
Yes.
All right.
Little company called Service Games, otherwise known as Sega, has had itself quite a year. Like actively, foundationally, inside of video games, outside of video games. Sega has been all over the place in 2022. They put out the next. They signed off on the next Sonic movie, which Sonic 2 was a hit. They set up for the Sonic Cinematic Universe, which is hilarious to me. But you know what? Fine. Let's have a universe of Sonic games as long as MCU. I'll accept that. They published just a wide variety of games, like not just their own stuff. Sonic Frontiers, of course, being like a huge talking point of this year, but also like all the stuff that they published that isn't directly Sega. 2 Point Campus is awesome. Let me see. They preside over a lot of the Persona stuff. Persona finally came to Switch this year, which is something everybody had been asking for an incredibly long time. They also released the Sega Genesis Mini 2, like catering to the retro crowd. And then on top of that, they have been like setting the stage to do this mysterious super game. Like that was announced this year. And between that, talking about reviving their old IP, actually doing and putting out good games this year, helping other studios put out great games this year, Sega has been so active in 2022, and I love it. I love it so much.
Yeah, they definitely did a lot. But you know what? I would argue a lot of that stuff you mentioned came out on a Nintendo Switch, TJ. You know, Bayonetta 3 came out on the Switch.
Bayonetta 3 isn't on Sega, silly.
What? It used to be a Sega game.
It
used to.
Sega game.
Yeah, it's Platinum Games published by Nintendo now.
Oh, well, I withdraw my remark and have that stricken from the record.
Overruled.
All right. Thank you. Let's see. But yeah, they did put out that other thing on Switch you were just talking about. I mean, Sega had a pretty good year. But they probably wouldn't have had such a good year without Nintendo, which brings me to my nomination. The people that put out a new Kirby game, a new Splatoon game. They teamed up with Ubisoft to make a Mario and Rabbids game. What else did Nintendo put out? Oh,
Mario Superstar Soccer.
Yeah, Nintendo Switch Sports.
Xenoblade Chronicles 3, because that's one we keep forgetting.
Yeah, Xenoblade Chronicles 3, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, which has already sold over 10 million copies, and that just came out like not even a month ago. As well as another Pokemon game, Arceus, like earlier on in the year. Yeah, Nintendo's rolling out the bangers, and we finally got a look at the Super Mario Brothers movie as well. If all that wasn't enough, like Nintendo like maybe Sonic 2 came out, but I don't think there. I feel like there was more fanfare around the Mario trailer than the entire Sonic 2 movie. To be honest, I gotta say, maybe that's me, but whatever. That's my hot take on it. I'm sticking to it. Nintendo had a banger year, as always, but this year was particularly banging. And I think anybody that spent any time playing their Switch would have to agree.
I know that Pokemon is like probably like the biggest franchise in the world right now, but when you take that off the table, like this was Nintendo doing all this without some of its like heavier hitters. There was no Mario, no Zelda, no Metroid, and they still managed to have like an amazing year.
I mean, they had games. They had Mario Sports stuff.
They had the we always expect the Mario Sports stuff.
I mean, that's a Mario game to me. It's not like the platforming Mario stuff, but it's still Mario. You know, and the Kirby game was fantastic. They put out a couple smaller Kirby games as well, too, didn't they?
Yes.
They had the Kirby Battle Royale that I can't remember the name of off the top of my head.
Kirby Fall Guys.
Kirby Fall Guys.
It was Kirby's.
That's pretty fun, actually. I like it.
Dream Buffet was the name of the game.
Yeah.
I liked it. I thought it was fun.
Yeah, and there you go. And Bayonetta 3, which they stole from Sega, TJ. So there you go. That's an L for Sega right there. All right. Well, yeah. Does anyone else want to talk about how great Nintendo is? Because you are more than welcome to. What?
I think you covered everything, Blake.
I'm a little shocked.
They're my nomination too, but you covered all the bases.
I said all the things.
Stole my thunder.
Oh my God, Steve Tendo. God, just give your speech. Just give a little speech.
Oh, I don't think I need to. I think the judge covered all of it. I mean, multiple Pokemon games, Bayonetta, Mario Kart DLC. I mean, pretty much every.
I didn't remember the Mario Kart DLC.
Every heavy hitter got something from Nintendo this year. I mean, and I consider Metroid to be a heavy hitter as well, but they've been going on years without having Metroid games. So I mean, if they do that with other things besides Metroid, I mean, it's been a banger year anyway.
Yeah,
we got a Metroid game just last year. Right?
Yeah, just last year. I mean.
Yeah, and the Nintendo 64 F-Zero game came to Virtual Console as well, didn't it?
It did.
Yes.
Yeah.
You'd be remiss if you didn't mention it.
Yeah, if I didn't mention that, Asif might get upset with me. But there you go. Yeah, I think that's Nintendo in a nutshell. We have a couple other nominations though. Who would like to throw their nomination out next?
I'll go ahead and go. In many respects, this was a no good, very bad year for Square Enix. Like when it started out, they looked at like a couple of their underperforming titles. They threw their North American studios under the bus. No shock there. Then they ended up selling off those studios, and it's like, well, okay, well, what do you got then? And then they came out with Babylon's Fall, which is a historic failure, and they're about a month away from shutting down their Final Fantasy VII Mobile Battle Royale, which just started earlier this year.
Okay, this is best publisher, Ozzy.
I'm getting there. I'm getting there, Your Honor. So, in a lot of ways, this is not a good year for Square. However, if you look at what they actually did put out, we're looking at games like Triangle Strategy, the Live Alive remake, Star Ocean: The Divine Force, Stranger of Paradise Final Fantasy Origin, the chaos killing game that I made fun of for months on end, and then I actually played it, and it was actually so much better than I expected. Various Day Life coming out of nowhere during a Nintendo Direct. Harvestella, the Diofield Chronicle. They brought Power Wash Simulator out of early access. They released the Life is Strange Remastered Collection. They took Triangle Strategy, and they took Neo, The World Ends With You, and they put them on PC. They released an expansion for Outriders. They brought Octopath Traveler to mobile. They're still bringing a lot of awesome stuff to Final Fantasy XIV. They brought out a Front Mission remake. And this month in December, we're getting Crisis Core and Dragon Quest Treasures. That's a really good year and I would say it outweighs the failures, with the exception of Babylon's Fall. That was awful. But other than that, I would say that the year that Square had actually outweighed all the failures, and almost makes you forget that they want to get into NFTs.
Yeah, Ozzy, I'm afraid, like what you failed to mention earlier on was that they sold off like Tomb Raider.
Yeah,
to get NFTs.
But at the same time, now if Tomb Raider doesn't sell, it's not going to be like, well, Square Enix is pointing the finger at them for underperforming, even though like they're racking up a 90 on Metacritic and like selling decently. It's like I don't have to see that narrative anymore.
Then they also built up the hype for like people thinking that there was going to be a Parasite Eve drop, and then it was just NFTs.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
I'm not saying they had a perfect year, but I'm saying that when you look at what they did bring out, they overachieved.
They put out some good games for sure. A lot of them are classic JRPGs. Not that that's a bad thing. It's very Square Enix of them, but I just can't see a world in which losing Tomb Raider for NFTs is a W. Like their cow got traded for beans, and those beans were not actually magical, Ozzy. Like there's no NFT. There is not. Yeah, there's no NFT beanstalk growing in Square Enix's backyard. They're not going to find.
They sell it to you.
It would be an epic journey.
Pictures of it. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah. I mean, I get why you're saying it. They did put out some good stuff that when they actually put it out, and I mean, Final Fantasy.
A lot of which I reviewed actually, which is why I'm like, oh my god, they've actually. Yeah. I'm stunned that they had as good a year as they had.
Yeah, but I mean, the selling off some really classic franchises, solid franchises for NFTs. Like Tomb Raider has a film series. Like Angelina Jolie has played Lara Croft before. You know, it's I don't know.
I hope that them selling off those studios means that Eidos Montreal can give us a sequel to Guardians of the Galaxy, which I don't think would have been possible if they had stayed with Square Enix.
Yeah, well, I'm also been hearing rumors that they're going to shut down the Marvel's Avengers game next year, which would be another L. I mean, not shocking.
Did anyone even remember that like Winter Soldier came out a few weeks ago? Like, it came and went, and like
I can't even tell you the last time
the 5 people still playing it online could have told you that, but probably nobody else. I'm sure the people that worked on it didn't even know. Okay, I love Square Enix. Don't get me wrong. Like I grew up, like they are the pinnacle of like JRPGs to me. You know, so many good memories playing Chrono Trigger and the Final Fantasy series and stuff like that. They always will have a special place in my heart. But maybe I'll get some of their NFTs after I finish playing Octopath Traveler, which I have not started. And I've owned the collector's edition since it came out on Switch. All right. Who else has a nomination? Morgan, I believe you got a nomination.
I do. I nominated Devolver Digital. I think that they had a lot of surprise bangers this year. I think they had a great show presentation, although they do every year. I like the attitude and personality of Devolver. Like anytime you go to like a PAX event, right? Like the Devolver booth, 10 out of 10. But like, yeah, like they published, I'm looking at their list here. You got Calls to the Lamb, you've got Return to Monkey Island, Angerfoot, where you can kick through things. They got Point P, Card Shark, Trek to Yomi, Weird West, Inscription. So they've published a lot of really awesome titles, and I like that they're giving a lot of these indie games, love and attention. So.
All right. Cool. Well, I think that is all the nominations that we have for this category. Time to vote. What do you say?
Well, I have a nomination. I just don't know if it counts. I asked about it. So with Game Pass being owned by Microsoft, does Microsoft count as a publisher this year or no? Judge?
Microsoft does publish games, but I'm pretty sure the only game that they themselves put out was Grounded. They probably put out. Did they publish anything indie? Like I know I think High on Life is through Microsoft, but that's not even out yet.
It was only if Game Pass was like eligible as like a kind of bringing games to people, but that's a service, I guess, not a publisher. So.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, they're not publishing the games. They're just providing a platform for them.
Okay, then yeah, I do not have a nomination then. That's why I checked.
All right. All right.
It's Ron.
Well, then I guess it's time to vote. Are you ready?
Yep.
All right. Steve, what's your vote?
I'm going with Nintendo for this one.
Steve Tendo votes for Nintendo. Shocking. David.
Nintendo.
Denny.
Nah, it was kind of on the fence, but I think I'll give it to Nintendo.
All right. Donovan.
Nintendo for sure.
Greg.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Sega.
You are a bit of a Sonic stan. All right. TJ.
Sega.
Ozzy.
Well, I don't want to think I wasted everyone's time, so I'm going to stick with Square Enix.
Morgan. What? Didn't hear you.
Shit. Oh, there we go.
No.
Devolver, even though I know it's not going to count, but yeah, Devolver.
It's okay. Yeah, I'm sticking with Nintendo. Nintendo had a banger year. Let's just be real. Now we got a few absentee ballots to count up. So let's do that. We'll start with Sam back here. Sam voted for Nintendo. And then let's see. Asif and Bill also voted for Nintendo. You probably just heard me say Nintendo a lot, and that's no shock because best publisher is definitely Nintendo for 2022.